Rabbi's writings.
Specifically, the Rabbi of the Warsaw Ghetto.
Yeah.
In this text I mentioned, which has been translated into English, and it's called Conscious Community, is the title in English. You see a concerted effort to develop a community of practitioners who were working with their minds in a way that was about bringing awareness into what arises, paying attention, developing a regular practice. And I should say that none of these things by themselves are totally remarkable within the Jewish tradition, but the unique constellation of practices and the language in which he was writing about this, I find remarkable.
Well, and what I find unusual is how does a rabbi in the Warsaw Ghetto get all this information from throughout the world? I mean, it's not like he's free to travel.
Correct.
He has the money, the time, or the freedom to travel.
Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is that there's a much longer arc of Jewish spiritual practices that he was fluent in and that he was able to draw from. So going back to the biblical sources, the rabbinic sources like the Mishnah and the Talmud, and then medieval works of Jewish philosophy and spirituality, which are in many ways mainstream, but they weren't always practiced. So there, as we all know, there's a big difference between being a student of something and studying something in theory and creating it and translating that into practice. So,
and are you saying for meditation it's better to have the practice than the theory?
Definitely. That's what it's all about. I think that is that's a central pillar of my life and my understanding of what it means to be a rabbi, is to teach Judaism as a practice. Because it can be so many other things. All those things are beautiful. The cultural expressions, the intellectual and theoretical expressions. But for me, and it goes back to my initial realization that my life, I needed wisdom in my life. And I needed to work on my life. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to really tap into life in as deep a way as I believed I could. I needed a practice. I needed to work on myself.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you've read or heard of the Course of Miracles, but there's a saying in the Course of Miracles, you teach what you have to learn. So, in a way, you're teaching meditation because that's what you've had to learn in life.
100%. I teach it because, exactly, I had to learn it. It worked for me. It continues to work for me in ever unfolding mysterious ways, and that's what I teach.
Well, and I know meditation can go on 24 hours a day because God is always present. There's always an opportunity to be mindful. But do you sit every day to meditate?
I do, and it's certainly my intention to. As a new father, it's increasingly difficult.
But that would be quite a meditation, watching your child grow.
It definitely is. And I learn incredible amounts of spiritual wisdom from him. Absolutely.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. He just turned 1 2 days ago, so it's very alive. You know, the appreciation of what I'm learning from him.
And does your wife meditate as well?
Not in a formal way, although she's really appreciative of it. And I was just on a retreat last week, and I'm sure she would be able to testify more than anybody else of how, when I'm practicing intensely, how it changes how I am as a partner. And you know, that
I would say the changes for the better.
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely. I'm much more patient, receptive, intuitively responsive to her needs. I'm much less locked into myself and what my needs are. You know, so I know that I need a daily practice. I combine my meditation practice with my daily prayer practice. But, you know, it affects who I am, absolutely.
And the prayer practice, like how many minutes would you stay in prayer, and how many minutes would you stay in meditation? And the reason why I asked this question, so that our audience can get an idea, because people look up to you, for most people probably look up to you as the role model.
I do as much as I can. I try to be realistic. I try to be compassionate with myself as a human being living in the world with a lot of other forces, and things that I need to pay attention to. So realistically, if every day I can sit in meditation for half an hour in the morning, and then I daven, I pray for another 20 minutes or so, ideally another half an hour, that's great. And then I try it's my aspiration to pray 3 times a day, which is the traditional way of praying in Judaism. And so those will be another 15 minutes, another half an hour a day when I'll be in more of a meditative or prayerful state.
Let's say somebody comes to you for pastoral counseling and they're having trouble, and do you ever say, well, let's just be quiet and meditate?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can, when appropriate, really shift the energy, because one of the things meditation does is it allows us to stop. And once we can stop, then we can back up and have a greater sense of perspective about where are we going.
Well, it's like a timeout for adults, like we give children timeouts.
Absolutely.
By the way, do you plan on teaching your son to meditate?
I would love to. I wouldn't want to force it on him, but I would absolutely want to teach it to him.
And what age do you think you'll start to have your son sit?
Well, I think about, I spent some time with the Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh in France, and he was really into teaching children. And when I was there, he would always start off the meditation teachings and he would teach directly to the children. And he would say that you can start as young as 2 years old and start for 30 seconds of meditation. And never force a child to sit, because then it won't have the potential sweetness. But I'd love to start soon, so that my son Adin gets a sense of it being something normal. I think he will get that because he's a father who meditates all the time. But it's a tool that I find so useful, and I just would love to share that with him.
Well, we only have about a minute to go. Rabbi Jordan, give us some words of wisdom. Or what do you want the audience to know?
Well, I'm thinking about this week's Torah portion, Vayishlach, and we read about Jacob wrestling with this angelic figure. And that's when he gets the name Yisrael, Israel. And it says that you get this name because you have wrestled with beings divine and human, and you have prevailed. Another way to translate that is you have wrestled with beings divine and human, vatuchal, and you are able. So I would say that my words of Torah for this week are really that we are able to engage in this life in deep ways, in meaningful ways, and really we can be holy people.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. For more information about Rabbi Jordan, Infinity Foundation InterQuest show, stay tuned till the credits at the end. Until next time, we wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thanks.
Rabbi.
Thank you.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-8